Yeah, I mean, I definitely endure, I'll say, the same dynamic, right? If we're just talking about just sheer popularity, but you know what I cited early on, particularly with the writing and because I this sounds ridiculous, but I do want to change the world, right? And you're never going to do that by appealing shallowly to an enormous number of people. That the way to change the world, at whatever level you're thinking about, the world and what change you want to bring, it's having really deep engagement with a smaller group of people, frankly. And so I think it's important, when we're writing, you lose your soul when you say, okay, I got to do a throwaway line on, let me write about Tesla, which is kind of funny because I did write about Tesla the other day, and it was kind of a throwaway, frankly, right? It was I did it in a couple hours, and it's something you've got to kind of mix up the things that are going to be appealing to a broad audience, but the stuff that's important is the stuff that's going to really connect. Maybe it's just with a few people, because that's really all you need.
There should be kind of an alternative, because I remember in a recent conversation you had with Grant Williams, I think you were talking about how Rusty called you out on a mention of a CEO. And this was kind of an aside to a main story that you were writing, and you were calling him out and you were telling him you were just adding another chapter to the crony capitalism that we see. And but you were talking about how that piece would have gotten a lot more clicks and you would have been able to reach many more people outside of your wolf pack. So isn't there a way that we can kind of get both?
Let's talk about that a second, because this was that N95 grifters piece that I was writing about, and part of it was I went off on a semi tangent. It was kind of, I got my juices going, because I'm one of the focuses I've had in the past has been looking at how stock buybacks, they're not bad in and of themselves. I get that. I love stock buybacks as an investor. Truly, I do. They are used to sterilize ridiculous management compensation schemes. I'm sorry, that's just the fact, right? And one of these ridiculous management compensation schemes happened to be with Honeywell, who is one of the major manufacturers of these N95 masks. And so I just had a little blurb where I was talking about, oh my God, I mean, what this guy, the CEO, none of these CEOs, they've never bought a penny of stock. It's just given to them, right? And it's set up in such a way where if he plays his cards right, he's not a founder, he's not an entrepreneur, he's an engineer who came up through the ranks, and he's a manager, right? He's looking at a payoff of maybe, I don't know, 150, 200 $million if he plays his cards right over the next, 5 or 6 years. It's like, what world, is that, I'll say productive or capitalist, right?
As Rusty said, man, that's the cheese.
He says that's the cheese, and he said, look, it's, it'll get the juices flowing for a lot of people, but that it's not what you're trying to say here. And he was exactly right.
But you can add a message to that, right? You can maximize the reach of your content by perhaps adding that cheese in.
Cheating a little bit.
Teasing
it a little bit.
Yeah, including the real message that you're trying to get in there, for sure. Because the whole idea of stock-based compensation is just, it's here to stay, right?
I think that's a bit of a, I mean, look, that's the excuse I give myself all the time, right? It's like, you kind of cheese it up a little bit here, but you're doing it for the greater good, right? It's that same thing we're talking about, kind of the noble lie. It's not as bad as the noble lie, but when you're cheesing it up, when you're kind of playing to the crowd, right? And masses is fine, but I mean the the
dopamine
cheap
receptors.
thrill,
Because look, it comes back down to credibility, right? The reason I think you got the support that you did with masks and the people that help you out and actually do the heavy lifting, I think it's because they trusted you, because they trusted your organization, you and Rusty.
Right on, brother.
And you made, like you said, you can have this shallow following, right? But the moment you ask for help, are you going to get it? Are you going to get the same type of principled people as you would otherwise? And I don't think you do. I think you become a tool for other people's narratives. If you make your headlines extravagant and you push on that cheese, you are giving whomever believes in your values and that they're using that without having probably read your article, using that title and using that lead paragraph in order to further their own arguments and those facts. What do you call it? Facts masked as opinions masked as facts, right?
Yeah.
So I think you need to fight. We're always fighting against it.
Yeah.
I always you want to push for a good title on it. You're always fighting against getting too much cheese, but it is something you need to be vigilant of.
Yeah. So look, the only coin of the realm that means a damn in this world of debasement that we're in, debasement of information, debasement of opinions, debasement of currencies, the only coin that's worth a damn is authenticity, right? And again, it's that teacup. When I was, running my fund, it was, as part of a larger asset manager, and I remember having a conversation in the kitchen with one of the two co-founders of the firm. And I don't know how we got on it, but and he was saying, I won't even try to do the Brooklyn accent, but he was saying, Ben, there are two things you got to know about business. And I said, okay, well, yeah, what's that, David? And he's so smart. I mean, this is really good, right? So he said, well, the first thing is this. It's not about the money. It's about the money. That was number one. And he's so right. And I've remembered that a lot of times, and it's really served me in good stead. And the other thing he said was, you always live to fight another day, right? And what he meant by that is what we're saying here, right? Which is that in this business of financial whatever that we're all in, right? It's a good business, right? You can make it's a business you can stay in your entire life and do good, make money, do all those things, right? But you can't be that teacup that gets broken. Once you lose that credibility, once you lose your authenticity, once you lose your reputation, there's no business on the face of the earth where reputation is more important than what we do, investing, right? Period, bar none. And so just preserve that. Even if you're wrong on stocks or the markets or whatever, don't ever feel like you have to go all in or make it all up or tell a little lie that leads into a big lie. You don't. Just play it straight, keep your authenticity, and this is a business where you can do good and make money for a lifetime.
So I agree. I mean, we obviously espouse the same value system, and then I contrast that against the Tesla game or Benioff or the Honeywell CEO,
capital management, and the guys are back in business and
the cheese, the cheese, right? Like this, I really, Rusty's recent article, The Cheese, really resonated with me, where we're now in a society where politically, economically, financially, the way to extract profit is to create edge cases that navigate around the spirit of the laws and the rules and the regulations and the spirit of capitalism and creative destruction, right? So we talk about authenticity, and we, I think, as a group, espouse it in our writings, in our operations, in what we stand for. And yet, when you look around us at those that are extracting the most from from the system, we observe the exact
It ain't
opposite.
us.
How do we reconcile that?
It ain't
Right?
us. Yeah, but it's always been this way, man. It's always been this way. And I think now, look, don't get me wrong. I think we're not just in the golden age of fraud and cheese and pursuing the edge case. We're in the platinum age. We're in the diamond age. It's just it's beyond anything in my adult life of understanding or anything I've read about, frankly, for that matter. But Adam, so what?
No, and I hear you, right? And that's about the word act.
It just makes you a little jealous. That's all. It makes you a little jealous. Like, oh, could I get some of that juice? Oh, wouldn't that be nice? Let's change that title. It's tough to see just some of these things go viral that are absolute nonsense.
Well, that's
hard.
a legit
It's hard.
It
makes me angry. I get it, but and this is so. This has been the most the thing that keeps me going. To your question, when I started writing Epsilon Theory, I may have told you this in the last talk we had. This was the summer of 2013, so just over 7 years ago, and I was in a pretty dark place. I don't mind telling you, right? I mean, we'd given all, we'd given all our money back in the hedge fund. I mean, it was close to $1 billion. We gave it all back because it just wasn't working. We never lost money for clients, but it's just not working.
Mm-hmm.
And since trying to figure out well what does work, what the hell is going on in markets and politics. And I started writing, and it was 100 people, and then now it's like 100,000, right? And it's like that old Police song, right? Tossing the message in a bottle out into the ocean, and you come back and there are 100 bottles washed up on your beach, and that's what this has been for me, right? The publishing and the writing, getting to go, guys like, I wouldn't know you guys if we weren't writing, if you weren't writing. And it's finding this brotherhood and sisterhood, and unfortunately, it's too much of a brotherhood and not enough sisters in what we do, right, in our business. But it's finding that. I like pack because it sounds a lot more, forceful than community, but that's what it is, and it's Fight Club, man. Except it's okay to tell people you're part of it, but it's everywhere, in every city, in every country, every burg and hamlet out there. There's one of us. It's just hard to know, who we are and how to connect, and that's where the writing and staying true and what you guys do, and even God bless you, a Labor Day weekend, a little podcast. This is how people get connected, and so that's how the world changes.